Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing Dis.
Mike playing Nim.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action. All right. Welcome back, guys. Quick recap. We've been dealing with the wolves. We found an eerie portal of some sort of pulsing energy, and we've retreated back to tell Gorbic we've killed 2 wolves, and Nim and Kenna are on their way to town. We will jump back in with Lazarus and Dis. So Dis has just been kind of talking to the to the goats, but he's got no real way to communicate with them, so he's just kind of obnoxiously treating them like they're little poodles that would go in his handbag. And and in the meantime, Lazarus, you were going to cast Speak with Animals, right? And then
I was chilling on my rock for a bit.
Okay. So obviously, it's
I probably
like
put
10
my rock
minutes.
about 10 feet away from the fence.
Okay, giving them a little bit of space. Sure. And then once you're ready to talk with animals, how do you engage the goats? First of all, I will note, because when you cast Speak with Animals, obviously you can hear them, and as soon as you can, you basically just hear please someone make them stop. And they're all just looking at Dis.
Dis, the goats say you were bothering them.
Whoa. Ask him if this is a racist thing.
Is it because he's black?
So as soon as you talk, because you were just passively listening before, as soon as you talk, several goats look in your direction, kind of freaked out. But then they seem to kind of adjust.
Well, he's just been quietly sitting there, just not doing anything for a while.
More just the shock of you suddenly being able to speak to them, I think, than anything else. And finally, one of them kind of cocks his head, and they're just we don't like things that aren't like us.
Fair enough. You're just different.
Almost the worst answer.
Oh, fuck you guys too, and I walk away.
As he climbs back over the fence and leaves, several of the goats are just kind of free.
You're welcome.
Several of them give you goat bows, which I imagine look simultaneously adorable and clumsy as hell.
Speaking of, this one needs to speak with you.
Speak, giant lizard.
You know of large creature coming and taking your friends?
The wolves! And it echoes through they're all the wolves! And they all get freaked out.
Yes. Well, as this big lizard is here, if you see wolves, make noise. Big lizard will try to help.
They all kind of... You can almost see through the wave of goats. They all seem to be kind of considering it. And then finally, just one from way in the middle somewhere, just all right!
That is all. Then goes back to chilling on his rock.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to do to the goats? Or Gorbic? I mean, he is there.
He told me to stay
just
away from the
looking
goats.
right at Dis. What you gonna do to a man?
I'm gonna give him a thumbs up and a nod, no matter what he's doing.
Just constant.
No,
Every time he looks.
Just every time he looks at you, so he's just doing a good
I
job,
just assumed
man.
he was glancing at me and just be like...
No, he's actually very, almost deliberately going out of his way to not notice you. Kind of he's got a routine to do, and he's just trying to focus on his day.
Rural farmer. I think I know why.
Getting his stuff done instead of paying attention to the man who thinks everyone's out to get him.
Damn.
There's no way Gorbic
Harsh,
should know
cold
that.
truth coming out.
Kenna gets dark thoughts while she's a goat and being ridden by Nim. It's probably the being ridden by Nim part
And
that
that's why
brings out the
goats
dark
represent
thoughts.
the devil.
That's right. Goats have dark thoughts. Dark thoughts.
Those are adorable little harmless animals that do
No,
nothing
I've
to
owned
hurt.
goats. They're not harmless.
Yeah, I was going to say, goats can hurt you. Speaking of goats that can hurt you, the giant goat galloping majestically through the wilderness with Nim. I mean, I think a permanent look of terror on his face. Because Kenna's just hauling ass. And Nim's 3 feet tall.
Just
Running
bouncing.
along.
While you're running, obviously Kenna can't speak. But Nim, that doesn't mean you can't. So are you doing, you've got at least an hour and a half on her. What's going through?
Dang, that's a long time.
Well, because it'd be at least 4 with walking. So, you've got a ways to go.
I feel like Nim is just reassuring Kenna and just encouraging her. Oh, that's a really good jump there. Way to clear that gopher hole.
Just nervous, so complimenting the druid.
Yeah, just nervously complimenting the druid, trying to not piss her off at all.
And get thrown.
I think that's a
First
solid
time.
plan from Nim.
Well, he's also in a precarious position.
This is true.
Yeah, that's true. On a constant basis, his balls are literally next to the bandsaw.
She just has to slam on the brakes.
Yeah, and that's the end
Really,
of
I
Nim's
can just
adventure.
fuck him off.
Right, that's it. You just slam on the brakes going at full speed and he just rockets forward.
But on the plus side, that doesn't happen. Ken is a calm, gentle giant goat, as it turns out.
We're not surprised.
And, but before you know it, town is in view. You can honestly ride all the way into town if you want. It's just up to you if you want to, de-goat right in the middle of town, or if you'd rather do it outside of town.
Do it right in the tavern.
Just ride right into the tavern and then just down into human.
She'd probably change before she got to town.
Okay.
Do you do something to warn them, or are you just
I stop.
I'm also interested.
Okay, you stop.
I stop and I shake.
You shake.
Gives
Okay.
him a shake. A little shimmy.
Nim will.
And if he doesn't get it, I would start encouraging him to get off.
Nim,
But not
Nim,
enough
Nim
to
will
put up.
dismount after the first shake.
Nim's a bright man. He knows he's at town. Okay. Nim jumps off. Kenna shifts out. You've had an hour and a half all to your own thoughts. Anything? You've had some time to think about the situation. Anything the two of you want to discuss before you go talk to Lil?
So, what if Lil has no idea what this is? Because she doesn't seem to know a whole lot about a lot.
Well, we'll just have to take it up the chain then.
How are we going to take it up the chain when we're at the bottom of the chain?
Exactly. That's how you do it. One rung at a time. You go link by link up the chain.
We're not going to be able to get this stupid deal because we're not going to be able to close the portal. But anyways, let's go.
Well, maybe it's real simple. Who knows?
All right.
To Lil.
To the tavern. As you step inside, there are several farmers in, although it does have a certain feeling of the middle of the day, so it's a little busier. There just seems to be more people around. But as you walk in, Lil dutifully is watching the door, and as she notices you come in, she kind of gives you a polite nod.
So it took us about an hour and a half to get back from there. So
Yeah,
it's
give or take.
11:30 noonish.
That's your rough feeling of it, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Lil, when you get a chance, can we talk to... I go and sit down. I just announced that.
Okay. She gives you a quick nod, and she finishes up a couple of things, and then she makes her way over to you. Can I help you with anything?
Yeah, we got a question for you.
Oh, all right, dear, go on.
So, we're figuring out a deal for Peter Harvester and Pooh, and with the goats, with Gobeck?
Gorbeck.
Right.
And he had a wolf problem, and he wanted us to get rid of the wolves. So we wandered over to get rid of these wolves, and there was these glowing green orbs.
That was their eyes.
Was that their eyes?
That was their eyes.
Kenna
Nim's,
didn't get close enough to see.
Nim's so helpful. That was their eyes.
Kenna didn't get close enough to see.
Oh. Okay, so their eyes were... They're huge wolves, and there was 4 of them.
Way bigger than a normal wolf.
They weren't natural beings. Kenna usually can speak with animals. She couldn't speak with these wolves. But 2 of them disappeared back through a portal.
That we found in a circle of trees.
What sort of portal?
A green portal in the ground? Oh, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. Ask Nim.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
a green portal in the ground. It was surrounded by ethereal trees that weren't actually there.
Oh, I see. You've found an incursion.
That was right.
It's an incursion.
It's sort of I've never had too much experience with them myself, but I've been told it's kind of like Stronghold sits in another dimension, I believe I told you. And every once in a while, that other dimension sort of tries to reclaim the space.
so to speak. So things will open up, and things that more naturally exist in that place will come here. It happens from time to time.
Is there something we can do to stop it?
Well, usually we close them when we can.
How do we close it?
Well, I've never closed one personally, but I have heard that most types of, how to put it, closing magics will work on them.
Like, say, a dispel magic?
Possibly.
Okay.
All right. So it's okay if we close it?
We do try to close them whenever we find them.
Okay. That's all we needed. We didn't want to cause any harm or do anything wrong.
No, that should be quite fine.
All right. That's all we needed.
All right.
What time is it, Lil?
It's just about 12:30, dear. I will remind you as well, per our previous discussion, any creatures that you find from these incursions, if you bring proof back that you've destroyed them or captured them or killed them, there is a reward structure in place.
Right.
But if that's all you need, dear,
That's all we need. Thanks, Lil.
well, you're more than welcome. Good hunting.
I just wanted to make sure I knew what time it was so we had an accurate time.
Yeah. No, that's good. Back to the farm.
To the farm, so I'll shape again.
Okay. Once again, Nim mounts Kenna, and off they go. I don't know why everybody keeps snickering when I say that.
Yeah, no reason, no
I'm
idea
just
at all.
kidding. I know why. In the meantime, so you, Lazarus and Dis, you guys have had at least an hour and a half at this point. You've obviously had a chance to talk to the goats. Is there anything that you want to do while you're there, or are you just kind of making busy time for yourselves?
Lazarus is going to take the time to meditate the prayer. He hasn't done that for a while.
Okay, fair enough.
On his rock.
Yes, to Eldath, I assume?
Yep.
Okay. Anything in particular you're looking for guidance on?
Not yet. Lazarus got something he wants to do, but right now he's just sort of like building up favor.
Okay, no, that's certainly fair enough. And you're just sitting on your rock, kind of meditating to yourself?
Yep, I still
Okay.
got, and I forgot to mention it because it's just one of those small things that's always been with me. But when I got like absorbed into the Stronghold and then stripped of my stuff, I still got the tiny blue gem I keep with me, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, your stock, the things that you have, they didn't take anything.
Yes, I'm just kind of rolling that in my hand while I do it.
Okay. It won't necessarily happen right away, but by the time they return and you come out of your prayer, you will have noticed that while you didn't receive any direct answer, you can't help but notice as you get off of the rock that a small, very small, like maybe like an inch wide, little like stream almost, like a little moat has kind of appeared around your rock.
Just probably like takes a note. Oh, that's neat. That's new.
Yeah, it's not necessarily an answer, but I mean, it definitely wasn't there when you sat down. Dis, what about you? Anything else in particular you'd like to accomplish?
I'm trying to get my short rest done, but
Sure, absolutely.
I'm going to be keeping vigilant for chainmail guy. What's the chainmail in the distance?
Certainly. Just at pure curiosity's sake, do you believe Chainmail Guy will come from the trees or from the direction of town?
Oh, I don't believe he knows we're here. I believe I'm going to try to catch a glance of him so I can further investigate. I don't think he'll be looking for me. I'm looking for people not paying attention.
Okay, so you're just kind of like circling almost, like just keeping a wary eye in each direction.
Yeah, he doesn't expect me at the farm.
I'm going to try and...
I
He won't be
would
trying to
suspect
ambush
he
the
wouldn't.
party at the farm.
I can't imagine he would suspect such a thing,
He
certainly.
expects
After
the
I come out of
Spanish
my
Inquisition.
trance thing,
Mhm.
I'm going to start listening specifically just for that. That came from the portal.
Oh, okay, trying to like...
So you see if it's something
hear
that's
for it.
perceptible from this far away, because it might be one of those things you can just hear from really far away, even though it's quiet.
Fair enough. Roll a perception roll.
So he's going to be paying attention for that. It was 419.
Okay. During the course of the next hour and a half that it takes for Nim and Kenna to get back, you don't hear any such sound. Though that doesn't mean you might not have been able to hear it from here. You just don't. Nim and Kenna, anything that you want to do on your way? I mean, obviously you're just kind of in transit, but I thought I'd check just in case.
As we pass through Peter Harvester's, I'll be like, "Hey, Peter."
He's just kind of, well, hot! And then, like, you're already gone.
Yeah, I feel like it's, "Hey, Peter."
You're just like, hot! Okay, so after not really that long, I mean, you have a hard time judging time here, I will. You've definitely kind of picked up on that, but without the sun, it gets pretty hard to tell what time it is sometimes. But nevertheless, after what doesn't feel like an insane amount of time, you notice Nim riding a giant goat towards the farm.
I feel like he's holding his, like, spell focus up.
Like he's charging?
Yeah.
Holy shit, chainmail? Oh, okay, we're safe.
You see the glint of light off, like, the crystal on the end of my spell focus.
Hard jumps, just that.
It's a chainmail!
It's the glint of chainmail. Oh, no, that's just a crystal.
That's Nimrod and Kenna, jeez.
Okay, it's alright, it's alright. And yeah, you guys arrive. I would imagine Kenna shifts out at that point, and you can kind of take a moment to catch each other up on what you've learned.
I'm gonna act all out of breath.
Kenna actually won't unshape.
Oh, okay. Okay, no worries then. Then you will leave it to Nim to describe what has happened.
So, we gotta go close it. We gotta use magic, like, dispel magic something. It's bad. It's an incursion.
So we were right then.
Did she tell you how many ranks we were going to get if we closed it?
I think if we show her your trophies, we might get some little gold on top.
As long as it's show and not give. I need these for wireless communication.
She just said that we have to prove they're dead. She didn't say that we had to, like, keep giving them in.
Alright, that works. Yeah, I can show them.
Or we can just take, like, a pelt and an ear.
That also works. But
It is possible we could take a part of the pelt or simply ask Gorbik to keep them on with us.
I mean, we're putting the horse guard a little bit ahead of the horse on this one. We have to get back there and close the portal, like we might not see a wolf.
Kenna's like trying to like run in that direction.
Lazarus meant for the pelts we had.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, we could probably do that. But yeah, I guess we could see how much they're worth at least.
Alright, back to our brothel then.
Let's save this run.
Okay, I guess Nim's gonna mount back up on Kenna.
Okay.
Kenna.
Whether you canna or you canta.
Kenna.
Okay, so you mount up and the two of you guys are just gonna run?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright, you guys begin making your way back towards the trees. Anything in particular you're watching for, being wary for? I mean, like, you know where you're going,
I'd
but...
be watching for wolves, but not in the trees. I'd be watching to see if they came out and went out to other places. So I'd be checking my cusp around this as we go towards it.
Sure, that seems fair. And I mean, I can guess.
And I'm looking for green orbs as well.
Okay, that seems fair. Chainmail and green orbs, both equally dangerous.
Yeah. Well, yes.
For now, equally dangerous. Okay. All right, so you guys begin moving towards the trees, and honestly, the approach is fairly uneventful. As you approach the trees and slip into the tree line and begin moving forward, about halfway to the portal, you would estimate you've maybe got like another 5 minutes or so before you would be getting to that same really close. Kenna, you find it difficult to move through the trees at this stage. They're growing steadily closer together, and it is really beginning to restrict your movement.
Then I'll do my little shake.
Okay.
And I'll hop off.
Okay. Nim hops off and Kenna poofs back into, woman form rather than goat. Okay. As you begin to move closer, that feeling once again begins to return. That kind of wobbly, things aren't quite right feeling. How close do you want to get?
Lazarus is not particularly needed.
Might be needed as backup if something comes out while I'm trying to close it.
How close do we want to be when we do this?
I need to see it.
This is true.
Because Dispel's a level 3?
Yeah.
So you can cast it, twice? You've got 1/3 and 1/4?
Yeah, I can cast it twice. Well, if I cast it at a 4th level, I automatically end the effects of the spell on the target.
What was your, what else do you have at 4th
Lower
level?
than 4th.
What?
What else do you have at 4th level as a spell?
Blight.
Blight and polymorph?
And polymorph, yeah.
If you cast Dispel Magic at the 4th level, you'll dispel anything 4th and under automatically.
I was wondering if you should just do, like, the 4th level, so...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Just do the 4th and go from there.
We still have to get close enough to see it, though.
Yeah,
I have
you're...
to, choose one creature object within range. I just have to be able to see it. So I think we would...
Does it say within range or that you can see?
It just says within range.
But it's a spell.
But I
you
need
have
to
be
know
able
what
to
it
target
is.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not like it. She has to like aim it. It's more like she's just.
As long as she has an exact idea of where it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Which in this case means she'll probably
have to see it.
Yeah.
So I would go until I can see it.
Okay.
And I will tell everyone that. I need to be able to see it. So I gotta go as close as I can.
Lazarus will be behind you just in case.
Alrighty.
Should we tie a rope around her or something?
Lazarus is going to have a hold on her. Do we wish to go more?
Do we make the chain?
Yeah, we can
I'll
make
hold
a
on to
human
you.
chain.
Wait, this isn't gonna work. How's Nim gonna...
Yeah, I'll be the anchor.
Nim has this.
I got you, bro.
Have no fear, party members. Nim has you.
I mean, I guess the solid one is have Nim.
I guess I could
Grab Kenna.
polymorph myself into something bigger. Or no, I can't, because I already burnt my polymorph. I would have had to short rested.
Yeah, I mean, how's this going to go down?
All right. Well, Lazarus is going to be holding onto Kenna's cloak and putting her within his aura.
Okay.
And then, do you want me to just be like, maybe tied on a rope?
I can grab your tail.
But we can't tie around the trees here, really. I don't think.
I can
Nope.
grab your tail.
All right, he can hold on to my tail.
So
Okay.
what we could do, you could hold on to me and I could tie to you.
Yes.
You're a lot heavier than Kenna.
She's like, oh, there's a tug.
Oh boy.
How much do you weigh?
Like 300 without armor.
You weigh a lot
And
more
he's got
than
armor
Kenna.
on. Let's just be clear about
Kenna's like
that.
120 pounds.
So if we station Lazarus outside, like 20 feet or further back, and then we sent Kenna in further?
No, I want her within my aura radius.
Okay, so you...
Yeah,
Just on saving?
it's a catch-22.
Plus 5.
If he's within radius, it might
Plus 5 to
help,
everything?
but that doesn't mean he has to get close to the portal.
And
too.
half damage from the magic.
Okay.
Well, that and, like, I'm just going to be there physically holding her. Basically.
Oh, that makes sense.
Lazarus can dig in.
Okay. So what do the other two do?
And Lazarus can also get himself out.
I guess Dis is holding onto your tail.
Yeah.
Okay. So that gives you another couple feet.
And Nim is just... Nim's standing there ready to cast Expeditious Retreat and just book it out of there.
Keep an eye over chainmail guy. We're vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, Nim's basically useless in this situation. Like, what am I going to do? I could haste somebody.
Well, I mean,
I'll haste somebody.
should someone need to run.
Yeah, I'll be ready to... Actually, no, I'll just be ready to haste, not like preparing it ready, like
Right,
where I'm
right.
burning a
Yeah,
spell
yeah.
slot.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But if something goes awry, I will cast haste on Kenna.
Okay.
On my
So-
short rest, I never did my hit die. Do you mind if I do those?
yeah,
Just
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
fill up and I'll just write down how much it was I want.
Yeah, feel free. Definitely. You would have done it during your short rest anyway, so go ahead. This is going to heal up a little bit. So while you're doing that, so Kenna is out front, walking towards the portal, or where she knows the portal should be.
Mm-hmm.
Lazarus has a grip on her, keeping her kind of close. Dis has got the tail, and Nim's probably like 5 or 10 feet back from that, just kind of ready to do what he can. Kenna, as you approach, that wobbly feeling gets not just steadily worse, but exponentially worse the closer you get. It really does get to a point where you would estimate you're still about 10 feet away from it, but you still don't see it, but the ground has physically gotten wobbly enough that you feel yourself sink into it almost like it's thick mud. Like it's become difficult to traverse the terrain. It hasn't stopped you, but you can still walk, but definitely the ground has become less supportive.
And I can't see any part of it yet.
Not yet. There's a set of what would be kind of thick bushes near the base of the trees, and for whatever reason, despite the ethereal nature of everything around you, those seem to be fairly what's the term? Obscuring. In the meantime, Lazarus, you're getting it worse than Kenna because you're way heavier. So whereas she's sinking like into her ankle, like it's pretty deep mud, like you, every time you step, you're fighting to not go like knee deep.
And, like, I can see, like, that she's obscured and stuff.
She's not obscured directly from you, but you can see that the portal's not visible.
Right, but I'm, like, right with her. Do I kind of see the problem?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
If I got up higher, would I be able to see?
Duck down.
Duck down. Okay, I duck down.
Okay.
Get on all fours?
You want to be down.
Yeah.
Lazarus aims out and just lightning breaths in a straight line over the portal, not into it, and just clears out everything.
How far does your lightning breath reach?
30 feet.
30 feet? And you're specifically aiming above the portal,
not aiming down, just
Yeah.
flat horizontal.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of take a deep breath in, and I don't know what sound you want to make while you lightning breath. Lazarus internally, I'm charging my laser. Yeah, and then you just go, wah, and that lightning breath explodes out of you, hits the tree or the bushes that seem a little more solid, and just obliterates through them like it would if it had hit a regular object. And as soon as that is clear, two things happen. The first is you get a clear view of the portal for the first time, visually. Because Nim could see it, but only in a magical sense. Nim, when you saw it magically, it looked like a whirling green disc of kind of magical weave being tucked into itself over and over and over again. Seeing it physically is very different. It's kind of like if you look at a funhouse mirror, and everything's kind of distorted to a center or away to the edges. It's kind of like both of those at once. It's like staring into something where the light is getting warped around something, but it's on the ground. So it almost seems like the trees are being pulled into it, but at the same time coming out of it.
Yeah.
And even with the distance that you have, now that you've exposed a clear line of sight to it, that wobbly feeling intensifies, and you feel yourself physically being pulled, much like the trees in the area. Not enough to knock you off balance, but you do physically feel your body being tugged towards it.
Then I immediately, like, just full rigid stance out and, like...
Yeah, dig in.
And I can see the portal?
Yes, you absolutely
I would
can.
immediately cast a 4th level Dispel Magic.
Okay.
Then.
What are we rolling for?
I think it's to hit, right? On
To
Dispel
hit.
Magic?
Yeah.
If it's
It's an action.
But does it say you have to roll to hit, or does it say it has to
No,
make
it's
a
just
saving
a
throw?
It's a DC check.
DC check.
Okay. And the portal would roll. So let's see.
No, I don't think the portal rolls.
The DC
If it's a higher
equals-
than a 4th level spell, it would roll.
Yeah. For each of the 4th level or higher on the target, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's
That's me.
Britt.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Britt makes the ability check. That's right.
So,
So what's she rolling against?
It should be a 9.
She won't know.
It's 10 plus the spell's level.
Would you roll?
I get +5?
Yeah, if that's your spellcasting ability.
Yes. Well, no. I get +8 for my spell. So that's gonna be, 10?
Okay. So Kenna raises her hand, and what do you say for Dispel Magic? Like, how do you...
Go away.
Just raise your hand. Go away!
Yeah.
That's fair. So you slam your hand out, you tell it to go away, and there's that momentary, like, bright white orb kind of drifts lazily out of your hand and begins moving towards the portal. As it gets closer, it also starts to bend and kind of twist into it. As it contacts it, there's definitely, like, an effect. Like, you feel everything in the area kind of destabilize for a moment. Everything gets wobbly in a different direction. Like if you were sailing on a ship and everything's been kind of going up and down, and then all of a sudden you shift side to side out of nowhere. And you watch physically as this disc of weird bending light begins to agitate to either side and kind of wobble as well and twist. It's clearly been destabilized by what you've done, but it doesn't appear to have been strong enough to completely...
And then do it.
Do it again! I foresee this time working for some reason.
Is that your magical ability?
Well, I have a portent left, so
That's right, you do.
14.
yeah, I'm just gonna give
Senses
you.
are tingling.
I'm just gonna. Give
I like that. I foresee it working better this time.
So it's a 22.
Okay, so this time with Nim's portent, you roll much higher, and once again, you're just kind of go away,
Yeah.
or
Go
I
away.
said go away.
I said,
I said
leave!
good day, sir.
Yeah, I like that. I said good day. And yeah, you once again the orb, but it's already the portal is so destabilized that as that white orb approaches it, rather than being pulled in, it just kind of seems to collide with it, and there's an immediate kind of and it just shrinks into itself and disappears. As it does, all of the trees and plant life in the entire area that was around this just instantly disappears. And you're left standing in kind of a brown patch where it's mostly just dirt. The ground has solidified as well. Notably, and unfortunately for Lazarus, when he dug in real good, he's now like knee deep in solid dirt instead of gooey mud.
So does that mean Kenna's hands in?
Yeah, you're kind of in
Knees?
it too.
So I'm on all fours, stuck in dirt.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been very deep, right? So would I be able
Not
to
super
like...
deep. You'll both need an athletics check to try to get out.
I'm still in this aura, though.
I'll start
Yes.
with my right leg.
It only affects saving throws, not ability checks.
Oh, what was that?
It's a 12.
Okay.
That's a 15.
Okay. So the two of you begin struggling against the now solid dirt, while I guess the other two just watch, because they didn't say anything.
I try to pull him out because I'm holding his tail.
Okay, then roll as well.
And I'll try to help Kenna.
There it is.
Thanks, guys.
Just a little prodding
Yeah.
was
Oh,
required.
just me of help.
Sorry, what was it? Athletics?
Yes.
16.
Okay.
Nim helped with the portent because that didn't help at all. It's a 3.
Nim's done all he can.
Can you lift with like one arm?
He's like trying to like help, but he's just adding his weight to hers instead.
Yeah, like I feel like Nim like
Crawls on top of Kenna.
Yeah, Nim like approaches, because see, here's the thing is Kenna's on all fours, which means Nim's best option to get her out would be to get physically up under her and try to lift her off, but that puts him dangerously close to a lot of bits I'm sure Kenna wouldn't like him touching. So rather than that, and because he's very cognizant of that fact, he just kind of like grabs onto her side from above her and tries to like twist her out, but he just kind of ends up leaning on her instead. So long story short, Kenna's not out yet. However, Lazarus has been trying to get his legs out, and I mean, he's strong, but he wasn't quite enough. But then Dis is like, don't worry, I'll help. And you tug on his tail. And it's not so much the strength that you provided, but Lazarus didn't really appreciate that at all. So there's kind of that moment of, it's like if somebody punches you in the dick. Like you get the full adrenaline boost and he pops right up out of the ground.
Got him.
Master Dis, no tugging Lazarus's tail, please.
Sorry, it looked like you were stuck.
Yes, not the tail.
Oh, my bad, I didn't know. I go over to him, like, I'm gonna help Kenna. This looks weird.
Yeah, Nim's like,
Kenna's probably, Nim, you're not even helping!
Like, can't like just Lazarus has come from around and just be like,
totally. Lazarus could with one arm like reach under her stomach and just pop her right
As
out
soon
of
as
the
I
ground.
see, as soon as I see Lazarus coming towards her, I just back away. Like, oh, this.
The
this will
lizard
work
has
better.
it.
Yeah.
The lizard's got it.
Nim will back off, dude.
do I need to roll?
No. She was only in the dirt like a couple of inches. So yeah, the arm goes gently under the waist and you just kind of pop her right out of the ground.
Up we go.
Thank you kindly.
Also, this is a bit of a scenario change.
A little bit.
I want to look around for wolves.
Sure. Give it a perception check.
I want to help him look around for wolves.
Okay. He'll go high, you'll go low.
Shocker.
Yeah, I mean,
Why do I always help with perception?
You try.
you're small.
spells
You're
there.
used to looking out for things trying to eat you.
15.
Also 15.
So you take a quick look around. Other than the fact that there's now this like 80 foot by 60 foot-ish area that is now just dirt, nothing else really seems to have changed. The trees are gone, but you don't notice any wild creatures. The feeling of wobbliness is completely gone, almost like it wasn't even there to begin with. And everything feels fine.
Well, let's head back then. No point in sticking around.
We've done it.
We gotta go.
Defeated the Master Wolf!
That's great, guys, and I'm really excited for us, but we really gotta head back because it's gonna be dark, like, right away.
What? Shouldn't be.
We've waited
It's an
3
hour and a
hours
half.
since 12:30, so it's on like 3.5 hours.
It's been an hour and a half since 12.
Both ways.
Hour and a half for you guys to get back to them, and then an hour
to get
to the thing.
trees.
Okay, so it's
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, yeah.
So you got 2 hours left ish. 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, it does. After.
That's
We
fine.
can't
Yes,
ride
we're-
back. We have nothing. We're
yes,
walking.
we're
Well, I mean, it's
traveling.
nice out for me. It's gonna be, like, I don't mind the change in colors. Let's move onwards. I can lead the way if it gets too dark.
All right. Well, let's go to Gobrick.
Okay. You begin heading back to him. As you approach, you notice he's standing at the fence line, looking out at you.
I yell from like as far away as possible when we see him. Like,
Gorbag!
Okay, maybe that's why he's looking at you already. But he doesn't seem to react. Certainly not in the way he did before. Doesn't seem to have shocked him this time. But as you approach and as you get kind of closer, you just kind of, oh, you're back.
We are.
We dealt with the situation.
I could see it from here. Where'd my trees go?
Well, they weren't real trees.
What do you mean ain't real trees?
It doesn't matter the logistics. It's too hard to explain, but they weren't real. So when we got rid of the magical hole in the ground, they went with it.
I thought you were looking for big wolves.
Well, the big wolves came from the hole in the ground.
Oh.
It's true.
And there ain't no more wolves.
All the wolves are gone.
We took care of both the regular wolves and the double wolf.
So you shouldn't have any more. We should not have a wolf problem anymore.
So the wolves took the trees with them.
Yeah.
Bastards.
I told you, they're terrible. Terrible creatures.
It's true.
Alright, well,
And most certainly, if you do have more issues arise again, you know where to get a hold of us.
not really.
We're
You
staying
just
at
kind
the
of showed up.
We're staying at the inn where Lil runs, the tavern.
Apple Rum.
You're in
Apple Rum.
town.
We're in town, yeah.
I see. Alright, well, a man of my word. You can go back to Peter. You tell him he's got his fertilizer for 35. And more importantly, you can have a goat.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Do you still have the wolf pelts?
Mr. Golbeck, did you have a further use for these pelts, or would you...
Well, I was planning on making a blanket.
Do you mind if we take the tails?
That seems fine.
We will turn these in for a bounty.
I got you.
It is appreciated.
Alright. Well, it seems, since you're gonna get to pick a goat, it's probably best if you folks stay the night.
Oh, there you go.
And it's gonna be dark soon, and it's gonna take some time for you to figure out which goat you want. There's a fair of them in there.
Where would we be resting?
Well, I got a pretty small house. It's just, my bed. But you're all free to sleep on the floor if you like. Or if you got tents and such, you can sleep out here. It does smell a little better in the house.
Lazarus did not bring his full roll, so perhaps he will just sit up in the corner.
I'll sleep in the house. Sure.
Yeah, I'll just find whatever's the widest corner and just kind of like sit in it.
Inside the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
what's the temperature like outside of the house at night? Or
The temperature really hasn't changed since you got there. It's not balmy, but not cold. It's really a very kind of medium temperature.
I'll go keep watch outside tonight, and I'll just go
outside the door and just lay against the other side of it,
Okay.
kind of sitting down and watching the ground. Yeah.
I'll approach Dis, Nim will, and Nim's gonna be like, "Hey, if you want to sleep outside, I was thinking if I brought my bedroll, we could, set up a tiny hut out here and keep an eye on everything."
I like it.
I forgot we had the time.
Never forget the tiny huts. Very important.
Well, if you guys are staying outside, though, I would probably stay with you.
I'm just trying to see.
I have a bedroll.
The
Smell
atmosphere
proof, too.
inside is comfortable and dry regardless of weather outside. So if comfortable, could I extrapolate that to mean that it's not smelling like goat poop? Or
It
if I
would
prestidigitate
initial air.
Even if the initial air smelled like goat poop, between prestidigitation and druidcraft, I think you could probably purify the air inside fairly easily.
Okay. So I'll start my ritual since I never equipped Lehman's tiny hut because, You
Why
never
would
really
you?
need to cast it on the...
No.
And even then, it's got a long casting time.
So then
It's a minute.
nobody's going inside of Gorbik's house?
Well, these two didn't bring their bedrolls, though.
I said I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
Lazarus
I just left.
Yeah, but you're just a giant.
Okay, Lazarus is going to go in the house. So, as you kind of approach nighttime, like obviously it's not time to go into the house yet, how are you going to select a goat? Gorbik hasn't really given you any direction. He's just kind of implied that you're free to take one.
We should hold a goat race.
No.
The fastest one wins.
I want to find the smallest, weakest looking goat.
The smallest,
She's gonna
weakest
take the rat.
looking goat. Okay.
You're just gonna buff it. Druid powers.
I will make a manly goat.
No.
I'll make a goat
Out of you.
What, we couldn't,
That was just disturbing.
we couldn't select the strongest, most, like...
jacked up.
No, I think Ken has made her choice with the weakest, piddliest goat. Okay.
Do we have a name for said goat yet?
Let me see the
You
goat
gotta-
first.
you gotta find the goat first.
Just wait a minute.
All right. So
They're all racist. I don't want anything to do with this.
while Kenna is moving amongst the goats, seeking her quarry, you guys set up and get ready for camp. Lazarus has been invited inside. Lazarus, as Gorbik opens the door and kind of ushers you inside, there's something very strange you're going to see, and it's up to you whether or not to describe it to your compatriots. But as you go inside of Gorbik's home, in stark contrast to his surly, somewhat aggressive personality outside, his home is quite nicely furnished. There is rugs, curtains, and above all else, a multitude of scented candles that have been arranged all over, very artistically. And as he kind of retreats inside, he lights each one individually to begin filling the small house with a much sweeter scent than there is outside.
Lazarus is probably just gets like the quiet appreciation. Doesn't like call him out or make any cheek, but like if he looks at me, he could probably see some like appreciation and enjoyment.
All right. He just kind of begins to prep inside. In the meantime, Kenna, I need a luck roll from you and a survival check. It'll be a little luck and a little of your natural skill.
Also, I will say that before we tuck, like if we actually go into tuck in,
Certainly.
Lazarus is still going to be listening, so he's going to have like his hammer and shield like beside him. So
That makes
like if
sense.
the goats cry out, he's going to get up and he's going to mentally know where he is from the door, so he doesn't like wake up in pitch black and then like
Fair.
crash to the house.
Gorbik seems to have no intention of turning the candles out. So actually, you'd probably be pretty well lit over the night. Kenna?
14 for luck, 13 for survival.
Okay. Kenna retreats into the field of goats, becoming one with the herd, trying to feel out its weakest, most vulnerable place. It doesn't take her long to get a general feeling of a center of the field where the young are being kept, to protect them. And as she tunnels almost deeper and deeper into the herd of goats, she comes across the young. And even in the young, there's that sense of things being protected in the middle. So she continues on her quest, deeper and deeper into the fields of goats. Finally, after what feels like a good long while, she comes across a steady progression of smaller and smaller goats, each looking weaker than the last, and most notably, each one having bigger, more adorable eyes than the last, simultaneously becoming cuter and more fragile as she goes, until she comes across what one could consider the penultimate, tiny, defenseless goat. It is an obscene rarity amongst the goats. She approaches it, and it is no higher than her shin. It is of only approximately 6 to 7 inches high. It is the tiniest little goat. It looks more like a little, Shih Tzu dog than a goat. And it's got the largest eyes. It's easily, 2/3 of its body mass. It's just adorable, goat, innocent, please don't kill me eyes.
Does it look like it has a mom around?
It is in the center of the children. You haven't seen an adult goat in this area in quite, several minutes.
So it's probably old enough to be weaned off of its mom.
It's hard to tell due to its small nature.
I'll go up to the little goat.
It just looks at you with those ginormous eyes.
I would talk to it, obviously.
As you speak to it, it seems to understand, it kind of nods along, but for whatever reason doesn't seem to be capable of replying.
Okay. I think I would say to it, Goat, would you want to come with me?
It kind of appraises you for a moment, those large eyes taking you in, tip to tail. And then it just gives you kind of a quick little, nodding up and down.
My God. Okay. So I'm going to tell the goat that I'm going to come back for it tomorrow. And to spend one, so it can spend one less week with its family and friends.
Okay. It nods in appreciation. And as you retreat from the sadistically adorable tiny goat, I'm sure are just streaming tears the whole way.
Has there been enough time for the tiny hut to come up?
Absolutely.
I feel like Nim is standing in there with a prestidigitation little goat in his hand, holding it up, going, Savannah!
Not even knowing that soon a tiny real goat of approximately that same size will be joining them.
I can't get into your hut, though.
Yeah, you can.
Can I?
Yep.
Okay.
As long as he allows you.
Allies can pass freely through it. It's if I pass through it, then it goes away.
Yeah. But yeah, so as you approach, Lazarus has disappeared into the farmer's hut, into his candled paradise. And the two others, Dis and Nim, are hunkered down inside the hut. What color did you make the hut, by the way?
Brown, like everything else around here.
Just to be clear, the dirt brown or the manure brown?
Because I can make a combination, kind of
certainly
pattern.
Yeah,
so I'll do that.
It's like a zebra pattern, but just with two colors of brown.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sure that doesn't look weird in any way. Kenna, certainly as you approach, I assume that would just stand out like crazy, so I'm sure you know where to go.
Yeah.
I suppose then we will head into a long rest.
Sure.
So you guys obviously have the night. It's first time in a little while that we've had, you're kind of out and about. Each one of you gets 2 hours of light activity, as you already know. What would you guys like to do?
I will scout the perimeter in the 2 hours.
The perimeter of the hut or the perimeter of the entire farm?
The entire farm.
Okay.
So
that is a more considerable distance due to the goat fields.
I assume it would still be about,
It's not insurmountable, just it is bigger.
Yeah, I'm just going to get vision of each of the sides. And I'll do it at, the darkest point of night, basically. So I can get a good view of everything, looking for chainmail and looking for green orbs.
Okay.
The wolves coming back and looking more in the direction of that portal we closed.
Well, I have good news. There's no moon, so every part of the night is the darkest part of the night.
Nice.
So you're kind of free to take whatever watch you like.
Nice.
I guess Nim will take first watch.
Okay.
And he's just gonna dance to the, oh god, there's no reference on what direction's what in here.
No, not even a little.
He's going to logic his way back through every movement he's done since he came through the portal and try to figure out which direction is northwest?
Mm-hmm.
Northwest.
Nim is attempting to communicate with what he believes might be a god that he previously got the attention of.
So, now that it's been a little while since I've spoken with said god, I feel like I've grown as a Nim. So
I've grown as a Nim. I like that. I will say, you're a fairly analytical person. You can trace back your movements at least reasonably well, at least right up to the point where you passed out for an indeterminate amount of time and woke up in an inn. After that, it's really a complete crapshoot.
Okay, so I guess just based on the way the buildings were oriented in the town, I'll just assume north is one of the cardinal directions they lined it up with and just kind of be cockeyed to town buildings.
Certainly. You will attempt to convene with the god that had previously reached down from the heavens almost and tugged you away for a moment. Tonight, nothing of that magnitude will happen to you. In fact...
Sorry, going back to that.
Sure.
We did know which way north was because he had mentioned we had to go north through the fields to get to the portal.
I did
From-
not expect Dis to be the one to tell Nim that.
Oh, well.
Mm-hmm.
And Nim would be trying to figure this out out. He'd be like, well, North was near.
Probably while the other two are trying to sleep.
As I say, just because it was me and you, I think, originally talking to it.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll, using that information, I'll direct myself to the northwest.
Okay. So you feel much more confident about the direction than you did a moment ago. However, one thing that certainly makes it quite difficult, especially given how you initially interacted with such a creature, is there are no stars here, which leaves you very much just staring into a void. But nonetheless, you try anyway. I mean, there's no harm in trying. But certainly nothing will occur over the course of the night for you.
Okay.
Kenna or Lazarus? Who's next?
And Ken is just probably daydreaming about her goat, honestly.
All right. Doing like the Simpsons sheep dream.
Yeah.
Like, please, Kenna, I thought you loved me.
No! She does love it!
Going the whole Simpsons one.
Yeah. No, definitely Kenna's dreams are almost haunted by the adorableness of this tiny goat.
I'm trying to think of the name for him.
Runt.
I will put this out there right now. The goat in question will definitely fit in your backpack. It is of a very small size.
His name is Kid.
Did I know if it
Maybe
was...
kid.
Did I know if it was a male or female?
You could have checked, but you did not
I
at the
did
time.
not. I didn't care enough.
Yeah. It was too, just the eyes. I mean, they peered into your soul. In a good way. Lazarus?
Lazarus is probably doing the same, especially since he's like kind of been ushered into a place. He's probably just doing his quiet contemplation.
Okay.
Especially since he's trying to gear himself up.
Yeah, nobody's got anything like they have to do. Is anybody changing spells during the long rest?
I should probably put Detect Magic on, actually.
Okay, that seems fair. What are you dropping for Detect Magic?
It's a good question. I'm gonna drop Invisibility,
Okay,
because every time I go to use it, it's like, you don't use it, so...
okay, that seems fair.
Detect Magic on.
Dis, changing out any spells?
Of course. Putting them all out and then putting them all back on again.
Dis is always so thorough with his spell work.
Gotta make sure. Don't know how they work, I'll just...
Just so good at magic, he forgets and then remembers every night how to do magic.
That's right. Did I know magic? I did know magic. It was this.
I feel like that's funnier because I feel like for almost 2 days solid, Dis has completely forgotten he has magic, and he's like, "Oh wait, that's right, I have magic. I'm gonna relearn all those tonight."
I haven't really had use for them.
That's true. I mean, you haven't had a need for them, but definitely, especially since we took a break. You're like, "Oh yeah, that's right, I have magic."
I can do that.
Kenna or Lazarus, any spell work?
I'm going to change out one spell.
Okay, what are you changing
I'm
out?
going to lose Compelled Duel for Command again.
Okay, just in case you need to command some beastie, some horrible beastie.
Well, Compelled Duel is like... Command is like Compelled Duel if I decide to phrase it that way, or I could use it for other things.
That is a fairly good point. And Kenna?
I think I'm leaving as is at the moment.
Okay. Well, since you're all going to have a long rest, and then obviously we'll pick back up again in the morning, it's kind of a natural place. We'll take a quick break, let you guys do what you need to do, and then we'll get back into it. Wow, what a cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen next time. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Double Doubles and Dragons next time.